In this video, I'm going to talk about where to get started for bending steel. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. My name is Eric Moss. I'm a personal trainer, motivational speaker, and a modern-day performing strongman. If you're unfamiliar with what a modern-day performing strongman is, picture the strength performers of old, legends of the past like the mighty Adam and Alexander Zass. They would perform real-life feats of strength as part of a live show. I do a similar thing, but with a modern-day twist. Some of the feats of strength I've performed in front of a live audience include things like bending steel bars, breaking chains with my chest, twisting horseshoes, rolling up frying pans, driving nails through wooden boards by hand, and even holding back a high-performance motorcycle. Now, being a modern-day strength performer and the fact that there's not a whole lot of us around these days to answer people's questions, in an effort to generate content for my YouTube channel by giving you guys what you want, I started a YouTube series called Ask Eric Moss, where I would invite you to ask me a question by dropping it in the comments below. And when you do that, I try to get back to you with your very own custom video answering your question. Pretty neat, right? So this question comes from your burnout solution 8483. And they asked, do you have any videos on how to implement steel bending into your workouts? Or can you point me in a direction to learn more? I'm looking to see how we should program this training for a beginner. I have plenty of gym experience, but this is new to me. Thanks. Thank you for asking that. And though I don't have any videos of my own talking about how to get started with bending steel or what to look for, my coach, Hercules Chris Ryder, does. And I'm going to try to include links to the videos in the comments below. But before you do that, or before I do that, you mentioned that you have plenty of gym experience, but you didn't mention anything about how strong you actually are. Because there are plenty of people that have been in the gym for years, but never really got anywhere with it. And part of that is one of the reasons I'm a personal trainer, is to show people actually how to get progress. I've gotten progress for myself, even to the point where all of a sudden I'm on stage in front of over 1,000 people, kind of showing off and talking about the mindset that it takes for this sort of thing, and getting paid for it and flying across the country, which is pretty neat when I actually think about it. But before I started bending steel, one of the things that I was told by a somewhat credible resource is that there was a rite of passage before beginning bending steel. And that was to do a Turkish getup with around 100 pounds. If you're able to do that, that shows that you have a bit of the requisite amount of strength throughout the entire body to be able to drive down onto the steel bars, or at least drive down on the beginner level steel bars. So I'm going to include the links in the description below. Not the description, in the comments below to some of the videos. But I would urge you, I'll also provide links to how to safely and effectively perform a Turkish getup. I like the strong first methods when it comes to learning the Turkish getup. I'm not really sure exactly how they're teaching it these days, but just about any way that you do it safely is going to be effective. Now, one of the reasons that I think that the getup is so valuable for this sort of thing is because, let's say you're doing a bench press, right? You might have massive amount of strength in this particular motion, but the getup, you're locked out. And with the getup, you're kind of driving through a stable core. And that's kind of how the technique behind bending steel is, driving down with your arms mostly locked out. Maybe doing partials would be an effective way to train for this sort of thing. Although I just generally do the feats of strength enough in shows where it's there when I need it and I don't need to do specific practice for it. I can just lift weights and progress the numbers. And that's actually one of the things, is I like lifting weights for this because it's measurable, and things that are measurable are easier to program, where with isometrics, it's pretty much programming is just push as hard as you can for a period of time. So once you get that Turkish getup with a 100 pounds, I used the Beast before I started bending steel. That's 106 pounds or 48 kilograms if you're not from America. We seem to be the only one using that measurement system. What was I going to say? Yeah, so if you do that, where I got started on bending steel, it was hot rolled steel. Hot rolled doesn't spring back the way cold rolled does. That cold rolled can be dangerous, and that's actually one of the reasons you want to go to a coach. My coach was Hercules Chris Ryder. I don't know if he's taking on clients right now, but his YouTube video is going to be in the description below, where he's going to talk about technique and how to get started and this, that, and the other. I started off with 1/2 inch round, if I remember correctly, and it was around 4 feet long, I think. It may have been longer. And then it's like, as you do it, that was a relatively easy bar. And part of that was from my coach getting me to be able to wrap my mind around the fact that I, as a mere mortal, can bend steel. And it's not just for Superman or Kryptonians, that every single one of us has the power to do it. How to get there is you got to be able to wrap your mind around the fact that you can bend steel. You got to be willing to go to a special place for the especially hard parts. You know, like one of the things is there's variance in materials, like wrenches are all over the map. Some will go, some you can't even move with a sledgehammer. And steel can be funny like that too. The show that I did this past weekend, I have a world record in bending reinforcing steel bars on the bridge of my nose, and that particular reinforcing steel bar just happened to be nasty. That was harder than some of the bigger bars that I do. Yeah, so work up to the Beast, assuming that you've got a clean bill of health. Remember, everything that I say, I don't really have your health history in front of me. I don't know what kind of injury history you have going on, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. This video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. So if you get hurt, it's on you. And then have a look at that video, and what happens next is up to you, I guess. So also, maybe not specifically to bending steel, but ripping decks of cards, the progression is built right in. As far as the technique, Hercules Chris Ryder has a book about it. He also has one about horseshoes, because there's different levels of horseshoes as well. Those would be two resources that I wish I had when I got started, although I had a coach, so that made it better. But if I didn't have a coach, those would be the two books that I would recommend to myself if I were to go back in time, unwilling to coach myself. But that is it for today. If you like the content, please let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, or you want to see the chronicles from my various performances, subscribe to the channel. If you think anybody should see this, please share it with them. This YouTube thing isn't rocket science. And if you want to further support the channel, do all the things that I just mentioned. That helps me get found by the algorithm. You can also further support the channel by picking up a copy of my book. Link is in the description below. That book chronicles my journey becoming a modern-day strength performer and the lessons that I learned along the way. And also, you can further support the channel by providing a super thanks. And if you provide a super thanks, I'll shuttle your question to the front of the queue. Right now, I think I'm about 9 months behind on these questions. But that's it for today. Please stay tuned for next time. And in the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.